Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix Show. My name is Chris Wong. This is episode 581 of the Ping Pong Flix Show. Of course, first of all, like I always do, and every time a new members show up, I need to, of course, thank my newest members of the Ping Pong Flix Show. Thanking Timothy Dalbeck. Let me put that. Thank you, new members. Timothy Dalbeck, Vod Carriot. Hope I said that right. And of course, I want to also thank my existing members, Raj Rudolph, Mott50, Salman Malik, Brent Coffey, Maximilian Platten, Jeffrey Mock, Il Divino Vega, JD McRae, Griff the Sith, Michaela, Mike Smith, Bon Jovi Calendar, Big Rooster, Nadir Hussein, Roger Benavides, Code Awesome 28, the ACS Universe, Carlos N, Mr. J310, Frank Dabrowski, Cal of Krypton, Curtis Deberg, WNH Productions, Danny Gray, Derek Schultz, Ray Ray's Collection, Entertainment, William Powell, Brandon Hall, Krypton Caged, George Arib Hussein, David Sherrington, and Sickness. Thank you once again for joining the membership, joining the Ping Pong Flix Show family. Yes, to this weekend, this Sunday is the premiere of my very first student film, extracted off of VCD itself. It's not very good quality, but I think you'll be entertained and laugh at the amateurish going-ons with that high school video. So anyway, that's going to come out on Sunday. But let's get on with the news. The first thing I want to go into is that The Dark Knight is headed to the 1970s for his latest animated adventure, the upcoming Batman Soul of the Dragon. Yes, we have another animated DC movie. We're getting a lot of those now, which is actually good, very good, because I thought after the full Justice League, A Dark Apocalypse War, there was going to be a little bit of hiatus before that, but no, we're getting new Superman content. We're getting into Deathstroke animated, and now we're getting another Batman one. Another Batman one, though. Okay. Soul of the Dragon will voice star David Duke and Tully, Mark Dacascos, Kelly Hu, Michael Jai White, and James Hong. The Dark Knight is headed to 1970s for his latest animated adventure, the upcoming Batman Soul of the Dragon. The film is an original tale rather than based on a specific comic book storyline that sees Bruce Wayne face a deadly menace from his past with the help of three former classmates, world-renowned martial artists, Richard Dragon, which, kind of looks like Bruce Lee, I guess, Ben Turner, and Lady Shiva, right? So obviously just the 70s. So the Dragon stars, of course, I just named all those people. David Giuntoli as Bruce Wayne Batman, Mark Dacascos as Richard Dragon, Kelly Hu as Lady Shiva, Michael J. White as Ben Turner or Bronze Tiger, James Hong as Osensei, and Josh Keaton as Jeffrey Burr. So Bruce Timm is executive and producing. Sam Liu, known as Rainford of Superman, Batman, The Killing Joke, is directing and producing. Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge writer Jeremy Adams penned the script. Oh, well, that's interesting. I wonder if this is going to be like a maybe a more adult themed, maybe have a little bit of violence in there. It's got the Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge writer. I mean, even Reign of the Superman and Batman the Killing Joke had some violence in it. It was produced by Warner Brothers Animation, DC, etc. It's the 42nd project in the ongoing DC Universe movie series, which have been pretty good so far. So this, which first came to light in June when Geeks Worldwide reported it was in the works, is due out in early 2021. So that looks interesting. I think for people who are fans of the animated DC, I actually am a fan of DC. So animated DC, I might be doing that more as exclusive members in terms of reviews. But yeah, so that's coming out. The Batman animated Soul of the Dragon. All right. Now the next one I'm going to share with you is a new interview with WarnerMedia CEO Jason Kilar and his push for HBO Max. Now, for this one, I'm going to let you listen to this because I think it's really good. It's 6 minutes, but I think it's very much something that really quite says how confident Jason Kilar is in HBO Max. So let me pull that up right now, because a lot of people are like, well, there's many articles about how it wasn't not as good as Disney. It's not as good as Hulu or things like that. The comparison and comparing each other. But I think Jason Kilar puts a new light into it and kind of offers his perspective on the actual situation with HBO Max. And I want to thank Luis Fernando for putting this up. Check this out.
It's just been about 2 months since HBO Max launched. Are you worried that it missed its shot to really gain consumers in this very crowded streaming landscape?
Not at all, not at all. And I say it, Julia, because if you take a look at the last 60 days, by any measure, from my perspective, we're in a really good position. If you take a look at what last year we thought and hoped we would be at the end of 2020, which is 36 million HBO and HBO Max subscribers. We just announced a couple of weeks ago that we're actually north of 36 million already. And obviously the number's going up every day.
But there is this question, though, of whether or not, as some traditional HBO subscribers cut the cord, you're adding others. You had about 4 million signups for HBO Max. Putting that in contrast to Disney, which had 10 million signups for its first day, Peacock, which has already had 10 million signups, are those numbers just way lower than what you need to be competitive in this landscape?
No, I think if you actually dive deeper in terms of apples to apples comparison, certainly on the NBC side of things, I think you'll see a bit of a different story. But more importantly, in terms of your question about Disney Plus, keep in mind Disney is a 100-year surgically precise brand with regards to families with kids under the ages of 9, generally speaking. So they did exactly what they should have done, and kudos to them. Ours is a very different journey. I'd argue in success, ours is a bigger outcome because we are really going after all members of the family and all individuals. And so the opportunity is bigger, but it does mean that our journey is going to be different because we don't have a 100-year surgically precise brand around families, specifically with kids under the age of 9.
But you do have the brand of HBO, and HBO meant something very specific. And then there became all these different versions of HBO, HBO Go, Now Max, and a lot of confusion. And I know that's one reason you're really trying to elevate the HBO Max brand in particular. But what do you want that brand to mean? And how do you clarify that when there's all that noise about HBO and what these different versions are?
Absolutely. So at the end of the day, we're leaning into HBO. And to immediately answer your second question, quality is the answer. We want people, when they think of HBO Max, when they think of all the things that they can get from HBO Max, we want people to think that, wow, these stories, they're a cut above. And that really plays into the legacy and the history of HBO. I couldn't be prouder of the work that they've done. And then obviously things like Warner Brothers and DC, Harry Potter. We're talking about a nearly 100-year legacy of quality, and that's exactly what we're going to do to lean into it. I do want to say something, Julia, that you raised, which is, I think in hindsight, a mistake, which is we did have a number of brands in the market that were ultimately confusing, which is HBO Now and HBO Go. We have sunsetted those brands and those services. So now we are left with, rightly so, HBO Max and HBO. So it's a much simpler proposition for consumers.
I wonder if you can help clarify how the funnel works in your view for how you get in front of the customer, get the customer to subscribe, and then retain. I know I'm finding at home, we'll often look for a specific piece of content. We'll do a search. We'll see what service it's available on, if we already have it free or basically already paid for, and then go there. It's kind of like a marketplace approach. How do you play within that marketplace? What's working and going to work?
Well, ultimately, we have to do two things. Like the first and most important thing is that we have to have incredible stories that people are seeking out and very much want to engage themselves in. So whether that's Succession or whether that's Perry Mason or Watchmen or Insecure, Love Life, Harry Potter, you name it. Like all of these things, we have to do a great job leaning into the stories. So that's the first and most important thing we need to do. And thankfully, I would argue that we're the best in the world at that. And I realize I'm very biased when I make that statement. The second thing that we need to do is that as we do that again and again and again, the name and the brand of HBO Max will start to lead consumers to start that top of the funnel by actually turning on HBO Max. That's when we know we've done a really nice job, on an individual story basis, such that people decide, you know what, I just know I want to be entertained in a high quality way. I'm going to start by opening up HBO Max.
And Hulu, which you worked hard on, turned out pretty well. What did you learn from that?
You got to start with focusing on the customer, and then everything else is just details. And so our big lesson at Hulu back in 2007 was empower people and liberate people so that they can be entertained when, where, and how they want to. Don't expect them to show up in a certain room of the house on a certain day of the week at a certain time just so they can watch a program that they want. So that was probably the most important lesson, which is start with the consumer, and everything else is just details.
Jason, we've had this, I guess, unintended.
Okay, we'll just end it with that. So basically what he said is that there, in a way, you have to look at the numbers in a different aspect, right? They're just saying when HBO Max signed up the new subscribers, there's actually also the other subscribers who are already signed up in HBO. So the numbers that are presented are not quite accurate in that sense. And I think I've even talked about that before. Yes, it's maybe only like 4 million, but it's actually including the plus the 30 plus that HBO already had. So it's really a lot more than that. But the other ones that I think that are really important is this need and this importance of having great storytelling and great visions and varied visions. You notice how he says Disney is always like age 9 and less, right? Up to age 9. And he's like really focusing like, look, Disney is great. It's been there forever, but it's for kids, man. Like that's for kids. For HBO Max, this is for everyone. We're making it for adults. We're making it for kids and every ages in between, teens, whatever. We're giving all these stories. We're getting all these different types of content on our service. And that's the beauty of it, that it gives a varied content. Also, the consumers are important. We have to listen to our customers, which is us. The fans, like, how do you think we even got the Snyder Cut too, right? They listened. They said, you know what? I think there is a vision here that people want, that we can probably make money off of, like I've been saying. So they did it. Release the Snyder Cut happened, and I believe that's how the Ayer Cut will happen as well, and so on and so forth, and including just having varied amounts of content on HBO Max. They're pretty much not going to say no to anybody at this point. If someone has a story, someone has a vision that they feel that, look, that's great, that's something that's intriguing, and it's different, it's not really have to connect with anything, let's throw it on HBO Max because we are looking for that content. So excellent interview with the WarnerMedia CEO, Jason Kilar. Thank you very much to AT&T and AT&T and WarnerMedia for actually pulling that together. So that's really, really awesome. Now let's get to AT&T themselves. They actually had, let me see if we can pull this. AT&T seemingly confirms that Zack Snyder's Justice League, there's going to be a teaser and title. We already know there's going to be a trailer. They said teaser here, but I feel like it's going to be a trailer, like a full-blown trailer. 10 days until DC FanDome. 10 days until we get to watch a teaser for Zack Snyder's Justice League. Head to dcfandom.com for more info on this free 24-hour virtual event. Now, I still remember back in the days, which is like really just a few months ago, where we've been getting a lot of heat for saying AT&T doesn't care about the Snyder Cut. They don't care about DC. They don't care about movies. They're a phone company. Well, looks like they do care after all, as they're trying to be a seamless company, a company that listens to consumers, hypes up the consumers, and going with it. So I'm very happy to see that these accounts, AT&T in general, is really hyping up DC FanDome, and they should. It's a big thing, right? So 10 days until DC FanDome, we're going to get a teaser. I always noticed that they did drop that name fully, Zack Snyder's Justice League. And so I think that eventually, this kind of almost maybe a better outlook at that Zack is able to secure that title like how he wanted to, when he talked about at JusticeCon that that's the title they want, that's what they're working on, and that's what they want. So I hope that he does get that title across. It looks like AT&T even kind of confirming that as well. And so I'm really eager to see a DC FanDome when that title eventually drops there at DC FanDome. So, but since we're talking about DC FanDome, another gentleman by the name of Jim Lee has put out an awesome little video of DC FanDome. So he shares a little behind the scenes look of DC FanDome. Watch DC FanDome come to life with this sneak peek with some literal behind the scenes footage of me working on parts of DC FanDome in the middle of the night. Don't miss the global event on August 22nd. All fans are welcome. Check this out.
This was an amazing, very cool, unique experience. I actually came up with the overall map for DC FanDome, right? The center Hall of Heroes Island, and then the 5 different islands that kind of float around it. I saw that there are 3 statues of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, and then this giant kind of auditorium behind it. So first I sat down and I drew the Trinity. This was an amazing, very cool, unique.
Awesome. So let me see if I can stop that. All right. So that was Jim Lee sharing is behind the scenes look at him pretty much making that. I like to say, man, that's that little scene there. I'm going to bring it up in a little second. If you guys ever played DC Universe Online, that part right there, I don't know if you guys played that, but it really reminds you of the Hall of Justice in DC Universe Online, where you have the statues of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. But you also see how much they put effort into that little section. It's a 3D section, which makes me even more, kind of think that when they say where it's a virtual event, like you're actually going to walk through virtually, of course, through rooms just like this, which is amazing. Like, I don't know, we won't need a VR headset, but like, can you imagine on the computer screen or whatever screen that you have on the monitor, and you're walking through or at least clicking on things, and it just shoots past to different areas, and you get the sense of being in this room, right? And I thought that's amazing. That's an amazing thing for this DC FanDome. It's like it's much more better than the San Diego Comic-Con, hands down, in terms of that. But like the virtual, just going through and actually going to different sections, the kids version, the films and stuff like that. I'm so excited, and the scheduling page is still down. And hopefully by tomorrow, the schedule will be up where we can customize our own schedules so we can check this out. I am excited. I cannot wait for this to happen. I don't know how I'm going to schedule my day, but like I said, I can't wait to get on there and start messing around. If I don't know when Zack Snyder's panel is going to be, I don't know if it's the end or the middle or the beginning, or you can schedule it. You can, it's already pre-recorded maybe, but I'm really eager to find this out, man. It's going to be so awesome. What an incredible event. And Jim Lee, man, Jim Lee is an incredible dude, a great artist, and loves all DC. He doesn't pick and choose which DC he loves. He doesn't try to push a certain DC on you. He he really literally embraces all of DC, and to that I commend him for that. That's how it should be. Like, no one should be like, I don't like this version of DC, I don't like this. We should just embrace it all and just say, I appreciate all these different DC visions. Sure, maybe you prefer one over the other, but that doesn't mean that's not part of DC. DC is the multiverse. That's what he's trying to do. Jim Lee is trying to include everyone, including that song. I get it. It's the John Williams score, but come on. It's the first Superman. It's the first pretty much superhero theme ever in on the silver screen. I mean, yeah, we had the George Reeves and stuff like that, but on the silver screen, on the big screen where it became like a blockbuster sensation, that literally is the iconic. It's iconic, and I get why they keep putting that in. So it's great. So I'm just really excited for that. So Jim Lee is going to be there definitely, and also currently Geoff Johns is going to be there, but someone has something to say about this, right? Ray Fisher reveals disturbing Geoff Johns behavior from the set of Justice League. He tweeted this out today. During the LA reshoots for Justice League, Geoff Johns summoned me to his office to belittle and admonish my agents' attempts to take grievances up the proper chain of command. He then made a thinly veiled threat to my career. This behavior cannot continue. Accountability over entertainment. And of course, you see my tweet right there. I stand with Ray Fisher, this giant asshole. I've said so many words about this dude, GJ, this guy in the cap, that I'm just at loss at how a company like WarnerMedia could still work with him. And so I noticed that, Ray Fisher talked about Joss Whedon, and Joss Whedon was removed from San Diego Comic-Con. I'm wondering if this is the same thing. We're trying to hopefully remove Geoff Johns from DC FanDome. Yes, he is an incredible writer. He has some fantastic work in writing, but he has done a great injustice on Justice League, right? And Ray Fisher is not holding back. He is super confident. Notice he's the one super confident talking about it, and none of these individuals want to even bring it up. John Berg did bring it up in a thin, very slight way, but nothing. It's probably because it's true, and I've heard that it was true. So I stand with you, Ray Fisher. I'm there with you all the way. I believe you 100%, because I've even heard things about Geoff Johns and Joss Whedon and not so much John Berg. I think he was more of a corporate guy, the business side of it, but especially Geoff Johns and Joss Whedon. Fuck those guys, man. I hope they dump them. I hope they get them out of DC FanDome, and it's terrible. I mean, it's just I'm at loss at words for every time I hear something else about the dude, and it's just like he's hiding behind his own work, like he's hiding behind his own fandom, his own fans. And that's disgusting, because you're just belittling the situation. You're belittling the negative attempts that he's done and insulted and abused and all these things to these actors and actresses and cast and crew. It's just sickening. It's just sickening, so I'm done with that guy. I don't even know if I don't know, but it's just too much. But anyway, I know I can separate the art with the gentleman. I can probably still read his books with covering his name maybe, but it's like I'm just at a loss at like if I was WarnerMedia, I'd see, you know what, Geoff Johns, thank you so much for your services, but it's no longer required. Thank you so much. So, you know, we'll just rip up these contracts and stuff like that. But, you know, I don't know, whatever. I'm pretty sure, or I hope at least, that Geoff Johns is not going to be a DC fandom, at least for now, you know, and he needs to make a statement or something. He needs to talk about something. So, but that's it. That's Ray Fisher tweeting out this time about Geoff Johns in a very confident tweet. And I don't know where this is headed. Like, I think he's ready to go bring them down. So I'm really interested, and I'm rooting for him to see this through. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think it may come to something quite big. He's been working on this for like 2.5 years. He said that at Justice Con, and I'm with him all the way. So this is going to be really interesting indeed. But yeah, but I don't want to take away from the excitement that is DC fandom. That's coming up. I'm still very excited for that. I'm still very excited to see the trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League, see what kind of stuff is coming out of Black Adam. I even want to see the trailer for the Suicide Squad, the new trailer for Wonder Woman 84. What do they have in mind? Are they going to have a Gotham City Sirens? What are the secret movies 1 and 2? What's coming out for the Flash? Can we explain the Flash a little bit more? Any other things? I don't know. What anything and everything that could be in DC is going to be at DC Fandome. The Suicide Squad game, which looks pretty awesome. Is there going to be another game? I don't know, but I'm really, really, you know, it's just great. I'm like barely thinking about work in this last week as we get into next weekend for DC Fandome, and I'm just so elated. So anyway, that's enough about me. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. I want to see you next time. All right.